You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener, your host, Ken Lain, talking every week about the landscapes of Northern Arizona. I've been doing this for a lot of decades. Just learned a few things. I think if you teach people how to garden, you just naturally get better yourself. I think if you teach, I've taught garden classes at the college. I've taught each week we teach garden classes here at the garden center every Saturday at 9:30. And so if you just teach more, it's top of mind all the time. Going, oh, I keep a list on my phone, just going, okay, oh, that's good. I was doing this in my yard. I should share that with folks. Why was I doing that? And you're explaining it in your head while you're gardening. I don't know if I need therapy for that, or I just enjoy gardening so much I like to share it, but hopefully you'll learn a few things throughout the show. And I'm trying to break up the segments now so that it's an hour program, trying to break the segments up so each one's got a theme, a topic, something that will help, some nugget you can take out of it and use in your gardens that week. So right now we are seeing hummingbirds are back. I'm out reading the paper in the morning. Hummingbirds are thick. And I'm trying to think what plants grow or attract or bring in more hummingbirds. Yeah, you can put a feeder up, and that's good. But really, hummingbirds, these magical fairy-like creatures that buzz around the yard, they really need plants. The reason they need plants is the nectar is more nutritious for them, and their protein source comes from insects like aphids and thrip and ciliads. And so they're not just doing nectar. They're not just, heroin-induced, active, crazy birds out there. They actually need some protein, kind of steak and potato stuff, and they're helping keep your aphids down. They're helping keep the thrip out of your flowers. So they do you a real benefit. And they need that. It keeps them healthier, keeps them stronger, keeps their muscles going so they can make that long, they travel north, south, east, west. They actually migrate throughout the year. And so they are now here for the season. They'll be here through October. And then they kind of start flying south again and look for warmer climate. So what are some plants? I'm thinking vines. Some of your vines are the easiest, fastest growing, hummingbird attracting kind of plants. And the number one that they just absolutely love. And the reason they love it is because it's in bloom while they're migrating back and forth is honeysuckle. So the traditional Hall's honeysuckle. This is Japanese honeysuckle, the one that you, as a kid, used to pull out the stamens and suck on the nectar, and it tasted so sweet. It tastes good to you and I. It really tastes good to hummingbirds. They cannot resist it. It's semi-evergreen, so it grows very fast. So one plant will cover about an 8x8 panel or an 8x8, let's say a surface. It's a great erosion control for holding in soils because it spreads, runs roots, as it holds in a bank. But it's semi-evergreen. Animals don't eat it. So javelina, deer, rabbits, or if they do, the plant grows so fast, it doesn't matter. It recovers very quickly. But a great plant takes our extreme, our winds, takes our bright days, takes our cold winters. Honeysuckle, all varieties attract hummingbirds and are very tough here. We've got probably 6 varieties that we sell. So reds and pinks and lemonade colors and the traditional, yellow one. They all grow well. And so the myth is that hummingbirds are attracted to red flowers, only red flowers. You got to have red, or that's not true. They're attracted to deep-throated kind of flowers and things that taste good. And so they're after flavors. Yes, color can attract them, but they'll go after a red honeysuckle just like they will a yellow one, just like they will a pink one. They like them all. The number one, probably most famous, I can't say that. Number one, popular is a trumpet vine. Trumpet vine looks like honeysuckle on steroids. It grows really big, really fast. I mean, it's like, it can be too aggressive, but it has these great big, like 3-inch long, deep-throated red flowers. Comes in red and yellow, 2 colors. We've got them both at the garden center. There's kind of a summer bloomer, so they're a main staple for hummingbirds as they're buzzing around. That's the one that they just really are attracted to, because you've got the most hummingbirds here in the summer months, and this is when this plant blooms. And so it kind of gets, I think it's most popular or thought of or mentioned just because there's more birds around, so you see more hummingbirds on it. But really, it's just a good, strong, drought hardy animals. Again, deer are going to leave this plant alone. Fast growing. That is, it's going to cover, you can grow this thing up and over a pergola and just have hummingbirds buzzing around you all the time. Could be a nuisance, actually. So, but they love trumpet vine. So trumpet, deep-throated types of flowers. One that I really like, not so much a hummingbird plant, but one that I've grown over the last 3 or 4 houses that I've owned here in this central Highland area, is Akebia, or what's the other name of that thing? Let me think here. Akebia, Akebia, Akebia. It's got chocolate vine. That's the other name. So it's got a flower in spring that smells like chocolate. You can't really see it per se. Yeah, little kind of white ball shaped or chocolate colored flowers. But really the fragrance you smell. But the reason I like Akebia is it grows fast. If you want a privacy screen, so if you want to encourage this vine to grow like now to the top of this 6-foot fence plus an extra 2 feet, Akebia is your plant, and it's evergreen. I've grown it in the shade, I've grown it in the sun, I've grown it it just grows, it loves to grow. So right now I have a big type of 6-foot retaining wall. It's ugly. Oh my gosh, it's just sterile. I've got gardens on top, gardens on below. I'm going, what can I do to soften up this big sterile wall? I put a trellis up, planted a kiwi at the back side. It just grew right up it, and it is magnificent. You can't see the wall. It just looks like this lush green secret garden. It's beautiful. And then I put a piece of furniture up on top of the wall, on top of the patio, basically. And now it's grown up over that iron furniture, and now it's taken on the shape. I've used it as a trellis almost. So it's really a piece of art. I mean, it's really striking. You come on the back patio, you go, whoa, that's pretty cool. What is that? It's Akebia. And so the native one that grows wild, if you just I want native plants, nothing, if it doesn't grow up in the Bradshaws, I don't want it. That's Virginia creeper. That one does grow absolutely wild. That's Virginia creeper, has 5 petals. Its cousins called Boston ivy. They're virtually the same from the same species. One's got 3 leaves, one's got 5. So basically, they're both self-clinging types of vines. They're famous, both of those, Boston ivy and Virginia creeper. They're going to adapt and think that they are wild plants. They're going to be very happy here. Animals don't bother them. Javelina, deer, rabbits, pack rats, they leave this thing alone. But it's most famous in the fall of the year for its bright fire engine red color. It's the brightest of all the autumn colors as far as vines go. It's magnificent. And so if you want something you can grow out there and then just let it go by itself, easy care, Virginia creeper is your plant. You'll see some magnificent commercial settings. I was up at the Prescott Resort. As you go in their main door right there, not the casino down, but up on the hill, Prescott Resort in the hotel, they've got Boston ivy growing up this like 4-story, huge facial front. But again, the wall was too big, too sterile. They put Boston ivy, whoever designed that, magnificent job. They've got some aspens in front of it that are just beautiful. And so here's the insider tip with all vines. If you're going up a fence, if you need to trim them back in the month of March. You let them just do their thing. Then you're going to trim them back as close as you can to that fence, as close as you can as close as you can. So within 6 inches of that chain link fence. Fertilize it with the all-purpose plant food, and it's going to wake up and just take off with new growth right after that. So the reason I say March is if you do it earlier, you could do it earlier, it's fine, but it'll have this cut back look. Ugh. If you do it right before they flush out in new growth, the end of March and April, it'll look bad for a shorter amount of time and be happy and healthy. So again, we've got a lot in store for you. Be right back after this. Watters garden companion plants for June are sunburst locust, moonshine yarrow, silverberry, and Hall's honeysuckle.
Ideal at growing up fences, walls, or as a ground cover.
Wind, drought, deer, javelina are no problem.
Hall's honeysuckle is an outstanding mountain vine with fragrant yellow flowers that loves blooming in the summer heat.
An excellent solution for a fast-growing screen, even in the poorest of soil.
You'll only find the hardiest vines at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
So we are back in the studio with Lisa Watters Lain. She comes each week and just shares garden questions. What are other gardeners thinking about? What are they sharing? What are they asking? What are we seeing? And that could be via email, via Facebook, via Instagram. I mean, it's coming from, or right here, actually in the garden center, people asking questions. We see, I don't know, how many baggies did you look at this week?
No.
I mean, people bring in Ziploc baggies full of bugs, death, which we appreciate. I'm glad you sealed it so we don't spread it to all the other plants here. I get really nervous when I just see a twig coming in. It's covered in scale, covered in mildew, covered in. We don't want that. So
no, baggies are greatly appreciated.
Yep.
And actually bringing in a sample is hugely useful. Because sometimes when people describe things, those words, we all get mixed up in words, meanings. And so to have a sample in front of your face and we can look at it under a little microscope, it's very helpful.
Is the microscope working now? Did you get that figured out? Oh, good. I know you mentioned it, and then I forgot I got another one at home. So
it kind of has a mind of its own sometimes, but been talking sweetly to it and it's been working lately. So pretty cool.
Yep. So microscope, we got a microscope that just plugs right into the back of a huge screen TV. Slickest invention ever. Not a microscope. Like you can watch us look at it together on the big screen TV. It's really cool.
Yes.
So anyway.
Easy to see spider mite with. And which is, I've been seeing a lot of spider mite out there.
'Tis the season.
So if you, especially some plants spider mites love junipers.
Yeah.
They love the little Alberta spruce. When there's certain things that they really love. Ivy is another one. So I kind of walked the neighborhoods and I walked by this one house and I went, oh my gosh.
You knock on the door and go, hey, you've got spider mite. Get out of here. I don't got spiders.
And the thing is, it's starting to really kill off part of their juniper. So it's something, go out in your yard and peruse a little bit. So spider mites are that real fine webbing. Kind of looks like it has specks in it, or sometimes it can look dusty. But it is definitely something you want to get on top of right away.
Had them on YEW, a couple of years ago, and I took my phone out just with a black screen, tapped the foliage over the black screen without the power on. And if you see dust crawling around the screen, you've got spider mites. And it's not just one. You'll see like the screen is covered with dust crawling around. And they've got a scarifying mouth part. So they kind of scrape the tissue off by the bazillions till the plant starts to lose its tissue and it can no longer create photosynthesis. And so it can no longer take in nutrients from the sun and the plant dies. It succumbs. You can literally kill this thing you can hardly see can literally kill the plant.
So be aware of it. That's our public service announcement.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
But we do have other questions. Our first question is from Kurt in Prescott. He's got a new neighbor that now he's looking from his kitchen window into their bathroom window. And he wants to block that. He's up on a ridge line where the wind blows and blows and blows. So he needs something tough that can get fairly tall, 6 to 8 feet, and take that wind and the abuse.
So is that Kurt with a C or Kurt with a K? Sorry, didn't mean to choke you up there. Sorry, allergies still going on. Okay, so Kurt, yes, you need to be careful. These are ridge lines. You need plants that can take the wind. And I'm sure what you didn't say was you've got great views. and no soil. So it seems like those ridge lines, all the soil kind of settles and runs. So you get rocks or soils in between the boulders. We almost make little pockets for plants to go into. There are certain plants are going to love that. Some are going to hate that. What to look at. So a window's typically, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet up off the ground. So it sounds like Kurt's wanting something 6 to 8 feet, maybe taller, and it's a neighbor, so it's a side yard. So I'm doing some assumptions. Kurt, take a picture, bring it in. We can do so much more with that. But anyway, we look at so many things. We could probably help you with that. Look at number one seller, red-tipped Photinia. There's one called Red Rocket. Was that the name? Red Dynamite.
Dynamo.
Red Dynamo, red tip Photinia. It gets up about head high, a little bit taller, thick as can be. We shear it or hedge it quite often, and it's quite handsome. Another one, if it's a side yard and you've got a fence, you just need something to crawl up it, you could look at vines. So we use that often on side yards. So honeysuckle, Virginia creeper, there's so many. What's the one with the red flower? Trumpet vine. There's a bunch of them. They'll grow up to the top of the wall and about 2 feet above. So you can kind of picture how far that's going to go up there. And vines are very strong, especially the native ones, at taking our wind and our sun. I would say the one that I like the most, just my personal, I like silverberry or Ellie Agnes. It's a native plant. It's an evergreen, gets up well above head high, width-wise, but it's as tall as red tip Photinia, but way stronger. It doesn't get the disease. Animals don't eat on it. It's stronger, and once it gets up to size, you don't have to water it again ever. No care. So Ellie Agnes or silverberry is the native one. A companion to that would be cotoneaster, or cotton Easter is how it's kind of spelled. But there's one called red clusterberry. Yeah, red clusterberry cotoneaster. Very fast grower. It might be too big for a side yard. That's one, take a picture. It helps us a lot to get you the right. When we look at a picture, we're looking at what else is growing there. So companion plants. We're looking at shadowing because now it's north, south, east, west. And then we might ask you what neighborhood you live in because we know the soils, what kind of soil Southview has as opposed to, Quailwood. We'll just kind of know all that. And so we might help you with that so we can get the right plant in the right spot. Like red clusterberry cotoneaster, tremendous plant, fast growth, white flowers in spring, red flowers through the winter.
Red berries.
Oh, right. Yeah. Red berries through the winter. Quite striking.
It is. What do you think of junipers? What of a Spartan juniper? Which
Sure. Or even your blue arrows. They're narrow but tall. Looks quite striking down that in between you and your neighbor looking in. So we can help you with privacy. That's one you probably, instead of just winging it, you probably need to know more. Hey, Doc, I stubbed my toe. Do you know what's wrong? Well, no, I can't tell you. Hey, Doc, I need new hair implants. Well, let's see what color it is. Let's see more. It's a bad analogy. We won't go down that path anymore. So anyway, what else you got?
Don't make me laugh. It's not good. All right. James is in Prescott. He put a new lawn in March.
Okay.
So new lawn coming up.
Great.
Wants to know, it's getting warmer.
Yeah.
Should I change my watering frequency and length, or what do you recommend for new lawns?
So watering, specifically lawns. So don't ever change how long it runs. Just get rid of that variable. Otherwise, you will confuse yourself till you just don't know what to do anymore. Find out how long it takes to water a lawn well, or a plant, tree, shrubs, whatever. And then don't ever change that. You always run it for 32 minutes or however long you're doing yours. And now all you're dealing with is how frequent should I do it? Way easy variable than how long, or should I change the emitter head, or should I change, just find out what makes them happy at any season. And then all you're playing with, how many days do I skip before I run it again?
Mhm.
So my guess is right now we're getting to the 80s, close to 90. You're getting some wind. It's maybe not quite humid yet. The monsoons aren't quite here. I'm guessing you are, with a brand new lawn, every other day. That's be my guess. Start with that. You're probably every third day or so, maybe twice a week. Right now, I'd maybe bump it up, take one day out of in between those water cycles, and start with that. The great thing is lawns are really good at talking to you. They start to lay down, you walk on them, you can see your feet. Just when you see that, oh, let me just water it a little bit, not longer, more frequently. So that's it for this segment. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and portulaca.
Portulaca tolerates blazing sun, where the neon flowers attract butterflies.
Available in red, orange, violet, white, and pink.
Great for containers, rock gardens, between sunny stepping stones, or any hot, dry garden space where nothing else grows.
The brighter, the better.
You'll find the toughest bloomers at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. So the gardens, vegetable gardens, let me touch on vegetables for just a moment. We've grown peas. We started planting those back in March. April, they were really growing like crazy. We've been harvesting those, and they're fading. They don't like summer. Peas like it cold. They don't like it hot. And so a suggestion that can really help you utilize accessing more crop rotations through your small gardens would be to simply swap out peas for beans. Beans love the summer. They have no interest in spring at all. They're really late to come out. If you plant those back in first part of April, it'll be a month, 6 weeks before they start to come up and look like something. But if you were to plant peas, get those going, then you harvest all the peas, so they like the cold. When they're fading, so the vines are starting to go, they look terrible. They haven't produced in a while. Rip those things out of the ground. They don't deserve to be in your gardens. Take that space, kind of add a little bit more compost, kind of revitalize or re-energize that garden row or that gratin plot or where you're growing up that trellis. I like to climb things, and plant your beans right after that. Beans are the same way. You'll get a whole other crop rotation out of that same garden space that you would otherwise just be one crop and you're done. They call it square foot gardening. And a lot of our gardens here are in raised beds or containers. Our soil is so bad that we tend to bring in our own soil. I'm tired of the struggle. I'm going to plant in my own soil. That's why I tell folks, if you're planting, if you really have struggled and you just don't know where to do, start with the soil. Go to your garden center and go, hey, I'm struggling. My plants don't seem to thrive. Your plants look so good. I want that dirt you're using to start your starter plants in. I want some of that in my yard. Just ask for that. So where is your grower's mix? And most garden centers, the bigger ones at least, they're growing, they're selling their soil, a better grade soil that they've made for their plants. If you can take a plant and give it more of what it's known in its entire life. So it started by seedling. So we call it Watters potting soil. It's the recipe, the science where you're tweaking, try to make sure, because we have every interest in getting every single seed to germinate. We want every one of those things to be successful. We have a vested interest in making sure if we throw away things, that just adds to the dump fees or stuff. We want every single one to germinate, to thrive, and look full, come in full tray of ready to go cucumbers or tomatoes or peppers or flowers. If you go, hey, what did you grow those in? And put the top layer of your raised bed with Watters potting soil. You take our plant from us and start it in that, you're going to have great success. Much more than getting some, generic mix, you're not quite sure what it is, but it doesn't quite look good, you put that plant. So a plant loves more of what it knows. Plants don't like to root from one type of soil to a different one. They struggle with that. And they for sure don't like to go from a rich, thick, luscious, I say apple tree, this beautiful, rich, we've grown it in this soil, and then you chuck it into your crummy, caliche-ridden landscape soil. It's not going to like that. It's going to struggle. It's going to have transplant shock. So the closer you can get to what it's grown in, the better off you are. That, and if you know your garden center is got great looking plants, and you can get some of your, and they're starting seeds or cuttings in that type of soil, if you can get some of that and start your own seedlings or your own cuttings in that same soil, you know they've been working that soil for decades. We tweak it very much. We test it between all the other models going, okay, let's see which one's growing the best. We'll actually put them side by side in the greenhouse and see which one grows the best. That's the one we want. Cost does not matter. What matters for us as growers is, what's the shrink loss? What's the most success? We don't want death. We don't want a dead cell. We want every single perfect plant coming in at the same time. That's what we're looking for. That's worth almost anything. And so we're trying to create soils that will give us that consistency, because we're making money off just selling tomatoes or petunias here at the garden center with perfect plants. If they're oddball stuff, well, that's what the farmer's market is for. I just took some dirt out of the soil, I started some seed, and here, they don't all look consistent. Some look sicklier or better than others. I'll take the nice one. Here we want every single one to be perfect. So if you can get some of that soil and put it in that top, don't even mix it into your raised beds. Just add a top layer so your seedlings or your starts or your seeds start in that mixture, and you'll find that your success rate goes up off the charts. It's a game changer. But I guess I started out with pull the peas out, put the beans in. It's time. You might add a little bit more potting soil in that area just so the seedlings take off right away. But yeah, we're in that planting season. That's how you up your game and get more produce out of a smaller space in your gardens. Be right back.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are Moonshine Yarrow, Silverberry, Hall's Honeysuckle, and Sunburst Locust.
Sunburst Locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
And back in the studio is Lisa Watters Lain. She comes each week just to inspire us, to share some garden insight that, well, we just want a woman's perspective sometimes, because otherwise all the garden shows are put together by men. It's just kind of like, oh, here we go. This is like bib overalls, and except for TikTok. Well, Martha, okay, there we go. But she's more recipes and decorations with the garden segment.
Did you see her swimsuit cover?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
I didn't.
How could I miss that?
I don't know.
You're talking to every man out there's tuned in. It's Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. We've all been watching that since the 70s. Martha was a surprise.
She's what, in her 80s?
Yep. They did a good job.
Hey, good for her.
Yep.
Yes, I wouldn't do it. And I'm in my 50s.
Well, I think you're a hottie out of the lake no matter what. You still catch my eye after 35 years. Uh-huh. Never mind.
I don't even know.
That's my John Wayne said this. Anyway.
Why'd you go to John Wayne?
Gardening. So gardening. What kind of gardening information?
Gardening. So we're in summer now.
Yes, we are.
At that summer,
solstice is here.
Yes. So there are shrubs that do better in the summer heat.
Oh yeah.
That perfectly happy out there blooming in the sun in the summer. So I thought we'd talk about some of those.
Yeah, it's kind of good that we're covering that, because people have been calling in worried about their summer plants. The spring was so cool so long. Mm-hmm. The summer lovers, they do not like spring. They like the summer. They want to be out when the lizards and the snakes and the when the condors are flying overhead, they're summer lovers,
Mhm.
not spring
That is
lovers.
very true. Yeah, so there's a lot of shrubs that can give you that color through the summer. The one that always comes to mind for me is Potentia.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just think it's such a good, tough shrub. Probably what, 3x3,
Knee high.
4?
Yep. Absolutely.
Little yellow blooms. There are some that have pink blossoms on them, some that tend a little more orange. But it's a good, consistent, very drought hardy, animal resistant. It's very consistent out in the landscape.
We put it in commercial landscapings quite often because you can run it over with a semi truck and it'll still keep blooming. It just, it's that tough.
Mhm,
And so we companion plant that with like catmint,
mhm.
spireas, Salvia
Salvia.
greggii, Russian sage. There's a whole bunch of these plants like to grow together and take a blow dryer to them. They like the heat. So that's one. And animals, you're right there with javelina, deer. They don't bother. It looks delicious,
Mhm.
but they don't bother that one.
Yeah. So I'd say that's a really good one out for those hot spots that are difficult to put things in.
What, a yellow flower about the size of a quarter, something like that? Perfect.
Yeah. So another one that I think does fabulous is the Rose of Sharon,
Yeah.
a type of hibiscus. So those, it's not the great big bloom like you see on the tropicals, but you get a lot of blooms on a plant. They come in pinks and whites and purples and reds and
Double flower, single
mhm.
flower,
Yeah.
variegated flower.
Yeah, so very versatile, very nice to put out there in the yard.
That's tall though, man. It
It's
gets
big.
up. That's lilac size. We're getting like traditional lilac. That gets easily head high plus 2-3 feet
Mhm.
unless you keep it trimmed. And
Which is
literally,
fine.
you and I have had some Rose of Sharons or hibiscus that have had so many flowers, we had to stake it back up because it
Mhm.
just was so laden with flowers, you couldn't see the foliage.
Mhm.
It's an amazing plant.
It is. So that's another good one that I really like.
What about just roses?
Yeah.
Rose of Sharon. Well, summer bloom. They look great in the spring and the fall. You know, they'll have everbloomers have flowers on them year round.
Yeah, I think the shrub roses
Yeah.
do better in the heat and
Yeah.
in blooming. I
Yeah.
think they're more of a continual bloomer than say the hybrid tea or the
Yeah.
grandifloras. So definitely those are. And Monrovia has some really nice kind of new ones in their perfume
Oh,
line,
nice.
they call them.
Shrub rose, but perfumed
Mhm.
or fragrant.
Very
Yeah.
fragrant too. I was very impressed on the smell on them. And it takes a lot for me to smell things nowadays, but I could smell those. So very, very fragrant. Butterfly bush.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another one that can get big. Certain Black Knight, Pink Delight. Those are the ones that get 6-8 feet tall. Definitely get huge. But they've come out with different series of them. So the Buzz series, I think it's about 4 to 5. Like Miss Violet, Miss Ruby, really striking colors like magenta pink and dark purple. So there's some really good colors in that line that are more well behaved.
Yeah. I just planted a red butterfly bush just off the patio. It's little. It's just a little guy.
Mhm.
And maybe it's not even knee high yet. It's growing fast. And I was cleaning up some mimosa trees, the dead branches, and I dropped some on it. And it just
Oh,
just smacked it. I think it'll recover.
Oh,
I gave it some root and grow.
pretty, too.
It was. So it'll come back. It's one of those accidents. Just
so this
happens.
is why you should prune
in the
like
winter.
February.
I hear you. I just didn't. So I had some dead branches that were bothering me. I'm just taking them out. And then it took out our brand new butterfly. You know what? We own a garden center. If it doesn't make it, I'll bring home another
I
one.
was looking so happy. And so they also have another series called the Pugster series. Those get about 2x2. The thing I like about those is the blossom is the same size as a regular butterfly bush, but the plant definitely is more of a miniature.
Yeah.
So those come in white and pinks and lavenders.
Great in containers. I mean, just raised beds right off the patio where you just can't have this ginormous thing.
Right.
It stays cuter. So same as Potentia size. Shrub rose, you keep down that low. Carpet roses, things, spireas, you can keep lower. Absolutely. What about smoke bush? That's just starting to come out.
That is true.
It's got that smoky kind of wispy flower that starts in summer. can
Yeah.
get bigger. So you can keep them down to chest high or so, but
Yeah.
if you let them go,
Mhm.
they'll get considerably larger.
We got a one in called Golden Spirit Smoke Bush.
Ooh, yeah.
So it has kind of a very bright, like chartreuse green leaf to it. I thought it was very attractive, especially if you have an area where you have darkness or it's
Dark rock.
Dark
He's using that
rock,
mocha
yeah.
rock. If that shines, pops
something
better.
where you really want to contrast in
Yeah.
color. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and equally as hardy. Take wind, it'll take the wind, the sun. It's
Mhm.
equally as robust
Right.
as the purple one. The purple ones are more popular,
Mhm.
but sometimes purple blends into all these native blues we have.
True.
The dark rocks that are so popular, ground
Mhm.
cover that's so popular right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a bright pop of color,
Mhm.
not a dark pop of color.
Crepe myrtles.
Oh, sure. Classic.
That's another one that
People don't realize we can grow crepe myrtle.
I-
Crepes grow great here.
they do. We don't usually do the big trees like maybe you find in Texas and Southern Cal or the southern parts of this country, but they do beautiful. And the colors on the crepe myrtles are just so bright, so intense. You kind of drive by and you're like, oh, what is that? Because they just really catch your eye.
You know, it's been looking striking the last few weeks are tree roses. So they have this they're trained to be a miniature tree,
Mhm.
and then they get, I don't know, 4 foot around or so, and they are just covered with flowers right now. They're
Mhm.
quite striking. And I
Yeah.
think we don't think of roses, we think of them as high maintenance, like poodles or something out in the yard. They need a haircut every 2 weeks. They aren't. They can be
Yeah.
super easy, especially in a drier, brighter climate
Mhm.
like we are. We don't get the mildew. We don't get black spot. We don't have as many issues with
True.
June beetles, and we just don't have those. And so
Mhm.
I think they should be considered more often,
I agree.
even from folks that maybe go, I saw my grandparents deal with those. They were always out there. Well, you don't have to be. I think they could
Right.
be nicer.
I agree.
What else? Flower?
Caryopteris.
Oh, sure.
Blue mist, bluebeard.
Yeah.
That's another one. Put it in the heat, boy, and it's happy.
Desert willow. We
Mhm.
could go on and on and on. Chaste tree.
Mhm.
But we are out of time. Thank you,
We
Lisa,
are.
for coming in. Ken and Lisa Lain, the mountain gardeners. Be right back after this.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and moonshine yarrow.
Moonshine yarrow is a fuss-free, heat-loving perennial with large clusters of canary yellow flowers held above a ferny foliage. It's just stunning.
Mountain tough, you can't kill this perennial that only blooms better year after year.
Javelina and rabbit detest the summer blooms.
You'll find moonshine yarrow for a limited time at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
If ever there was a time to plant a shade tree, now is it. We're at the winter solstice, or not winter, summer solstice. So longest day is in this midsummer area. So you're seeing where the brightest spots are. You could actually place a shade tree now better in the yard than you could, let's say earlier in the spring. You have to guesstimate a little bit because the days are so short. Now it's bright. And trees grow fast right now. So your fastest growing of the shade trees, these are sycamores and maples, locusts, ash. There's a whole series of them that are very fast and very large. They're actively pushing out growth. So let's say a Prescott Blaze maple. This is a classic maple leaf. It's blazing red, this blaze maple, in the fall of the year. It's the fastest growing of the maple trees that still turns red. There's some that grow as fast or faster, maybe questionable, but they turn gold or orange. But the red is, that's what's desirable, is Prescott Blaze maple. It's going to grow an extra 2 feet between now and the end of the year. And then it turns this blazing red color, usually in October, first part of November. Then it's just deciduous. That is, it loses its leaves in the winter. So that's deciduous. Evergreen keeps its green through the winter. Deciduous loses. So what are some of the better, bigger, faster growing shade trees? Thought I'd mention that. Now, first of all, shade trees, they're not exactly great street trees. So they get so big, but you have to constantly limb these things up before a semi or big old van or RV can drive underneath, let's say, a sycamore tree out at the street. They're actually better off as backyard trees or west side of your house where it's just so blistering hot. Put them there. The beautiful thing about a big tree in the west side of your patios, your gardens, your house, your barn, is that it shades during the hot summer heat, but then they lose their foliage in the winter so that you get the solar gain. So you actually it reduce or increase the heat ability of that yard because the sun's coming in and warming up that structure. But in the summer, it's shading it. It's a great way to go. It's design 101. That's where they start. They teach us start with evergreens to the northwest, northwest, because the winds come from the northwest typically in winter, so we can reduce that cold air permeating into your structure. Put the shade trees to the west or southwest because that's where the heat of summer is, and it just gives your air conditioning a workout. Yet it loses their leaves and you can get some solar gain. So it reduces the effect on those heat pumps, furnaces, fireplaces. It's easier to heat your house, cool your house, depending on where you place plants. It's a game changer. Then you go for privacy. So, man, I don't want to look at that barn. Oh my gosh, Class A, that's a beautiful $200,000 RV, but I don't look at it every time I'm sipping tea, watching a sunset. Let's block that thing. So then you go to the oasis effect. You bring in the colorful stuff closer to where you enjoy your time. So the back patio, the outdoor kitchens, the driveways. You want a landscape that just comes in and goes, welcome home. I'm so glad that you're here. That's what coming down to the front door so that every Amazon delivery, the driver goes, whoa, these folks know how to garden. I wouldn't mind living here. This is great. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. As they wave at the security cameras. So you look at the patios, the decks, the entrance, the driveways. Sometimes we work backwards. We start at the oasis effect, but really we should start with the trees because they take the longest time to establish. The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago. The next best time is, well, today. So that's a common saying used often, but it's so true. Put your big trees out back where you're enjoying that area to the west, to the southwest. And then you go, if you want to park your truck underneath a huge sycamore tree or huge locust. There's golden locust right now, this beautiful umbrella-shaped canopy. It's up about 35 feet tall. And it's got these long branches that come out. You can easily park underneath those. And it's just it's got a real small leaf to it. And so it's very easy to clean up because they just blow away. I don't know where they go, probably your neighbor's house. They just kind of blow away. Whereas a big leafed things like a big American elm or big Siberian elms, there's a new series of elm trees they don't get the bugs. They don't have the seed. Those are the elm. You don't want that wild elm tree that just grows because it's a weed. It gets disease, slime flux, every bug you could think of. It seeds everywhere. It's a high maintenance plant. Not so with the new varieties because they bred the hardiness back into that tree and they bred out the seed production. So we're only using the males, not the females. So they're not going to seed for you. A better choice. So, but still that same deep taproot that you see from the wild elms that grow out there. If you have a real narrow spot, so we have a lot of very narrow yards anymore, side yards, backyards are even narrow anymore. Aspens and birch are really good choices. They get tall, but they don't get wide. And so, but they're still deciduous. That is, you can plant that on that west facing. So our west side of my office and the master bath are on the west side. It roasts. It is so hot. So I plant aspen trees up along the wall because not underneath the eaves, I'm just outside the eave, but it's not so big that it encroaches on my neighbors. I want shade without irritating my neighbors. And so I'm trying to be a good neighbor. That's a good way to do that. So you can use that on that. Let's say you've got a pergola trying to shade that back patio, but you still need something tall that shades even the pergola to really make it where it's comfortable. Even in the hottest day of June, you can still go outside and enjoy that. An aspen does a great job. That's that white bark. And as the bark matures, it gets whiter and whiter and whiter. It turns paper white. Beautiful. They call it Populus tremuloides. That's poplar with the trembling leaf. Trembling, that's the Latin of it. Trembling leaf poplar. That's an aspen tree. They also make a variety of Swiss poplar or aspen. It doesn't tremble. Has kind of a straight, it actually looks more like a birch than it does an aspen. If you live in the mountains of Arizona, you've got aspen clusters all over here. In the heart of Prescott, you have Aspen Creek. You can walk right there. There's clusters everywhere. Plant the native one. It's going to do better for you. And it's so pretty as a breeze rustles through that foliage. I do believe that birch is actually a more robust shade tree. So if you need white bark, not too wide, a lacy leaf to it, birch has a deeper root structure. And I think the reason that is, it takes our heavy clay soils better than, let's say, an aspen does. Aspens, everyone thinks you got to water it to water it so much. Not true. You're actually more likely to kill an aspen tree from overwatering it in a heavy clay soil than you are, let's say, a birch tree. So they're more drought hardy than you think. Give it a good deep soak once it's established. About once a week is more than enough for aspens. It does not like water every day. In fact, all these big trees are not going to like water every day. They put on big root structures deep down into the soil, so they like to be hydrated very heavily, very deeply, about once a week. That's good enough for them. If they're getting water every other day, they can literally suffocate while in the ground. So roots of plants need oxygen. And if you fill all those air pockets up with water molecules, literally that plant will, the roots literally rot. You dig them up and you'll have an odor, a smell. You'll see the roots are dark chocolate colored. They've been stained because they've been rotting in the ground. You want nice, vibrant, white roots. That means they're healthy, active, growing, and hardy. They're taking in the nutrients and the water up to that plant more efficiently. And so those are some insider tips I think that will help you. It's a good time to plant a shade tree. It's the best time, I would say. Your selection is very good. There's still some big choices. You go instantaneous tree if you want, or smaller. You got a lot of growth pattern, a lot of growth season left for those trees. Shade trees from the mountains of Arizona. Be right back.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are moonshine yarrow, silverberry, Hall's honeysuckle, and sunburst locust.
Sunburst locust cheerfully shouts, "Hello, spring," with its glowing yellow leaves.
As summer heats up, it settles down to a naturally cool green, only to turn gold again in the autumn.
This Watters exclusive casts a dappled shade, perfect for reading books or sharing an outdoor meal, and impervious to deer.
You'll find the coolest trees here at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
So there are some serious bugs starting to happen out in the gardens, and it's the summer. So everything is growing very fast right now. Your plants are growing fast. If the leaves are curled, parts of the leaves are missing. They've got deformities. These are all insects. So there's different ones coming out. So aphids have been out thick. So if you get this, it almost looks like the plant is wet. Only one thing does that: aphids. Thrip have been out since March, and the leaves are curling on you, and you don't know why. You're thinking it's a wind, something's happened. There's a tiny bug called a no-see-um or thrip inside that leaf, eating the leaf from the inside out. Your flowers didn't bloom; they just turned black and weathered up. You're blaming the wind. No, that's a bug. That's inside the flower bud, eating the flower from the inside out. We've seen parts of the leaves missing. Caterpillars are out right now. We're seeing blister beetles out in the valley areas. So these are they're cute little bugs. About, I don't know, an inch long, kind of long, narrow body. And the rumor is if you squash them on your skin, they can leave a blister, thus the name blister beetle. Actually, if they get in hay and horses eat them, it can actually do some serious damage. You definitely have a vet bill when that happens. These are not good bugs. What to do? Oh, grasshoppers are out. I mean, everything is out now. And so it's time to start watching this. Super easy if you got this. So I brought a couple things. So I have been using in my gardens triple action. Triple action is neem oil. It's an organic. Neem oil works great for little tiny bugs, houseplants, aphids and thrip on your squash and your cucumbers. This is my first line defense. This is great for small bugs. Once you get up to bigger things, grasshoppers, blister beetles, where the ground is moving, the earwigs, you need to move up to something stronger. The next strongest thing that's safest you can use, but still effective. High Yield puts out a product called Indoor Outdoor Spray. It's an insecticide. It's a bug killer. If you don't know, so I teach my team, if you just don't know what it is, sell them, get them to use indoor outdoor insecticide. It will take them out. If you're not sure what it is, just spray them with this. Your problems are gone. And what I advise folks is spray them now, usually in the morning. Morning, it's less windy, it's cooler, it's better for the plants. And the bugs are less active, so they're more congregated. So earlier in the morning, the better. So you have a better knockdown rate of the insects. Spraying with this indoor outdoor spray and in the morning, and I tell them follow up in about 10, 14 days. And if you do that a couple times, the new growth will come out clean, neat, healthy, and you're past your problems. Kind of keep an eye on it. The way you spray this stuff is I have a Hudson sprayer. This is a hose-in sprayer. In fact, I brought a sample for those of you watching this on the video. It looks like this. So Hudson sprayer, your hose goes on the end of the sprayer. You pour the product full strength into this container, and then it's got this nifty, slick, a brass nozzle. You just dial it for indoor outdoor spray. You put it on a 1, the small lowest setting, and as the water goes through the hose, it automatically mixes it at the right ratio. The beauty of this is whatever's left over is still full strength. You pour it right back in the bottle, and it's ready to go for the next time you see insects. If you're gardening, you need good tools. This is a great tool. It's worth the investment. Hudson sprayer, hose-in sprayer. Also, lastly, if you've got damage, I'll leave you with this, and then we'll wrap it up. Fertilize everything in the yard by the end of the month. You just want to take advantage during this heat, draws the moisture, draws the monsoons to us. And so we know it's coming in 2-3 weeks. Put your fertilizers down now, and you'll get this magic new growth and healthy new gardens. That's it for this show. Ken and Lisa Lain, we camp out here at Watters Garden Center. We love talking to fans of the show.
Watters Garden companion plants for June are golden locust, moonshine yarrow, Hall's honeysuckle, and gilt-edge silverberry.
Gilded Edge Silverberry grows head high with bright gold and blue leaves that screens out the most obnoxious neighbors while standing up to blistering heat and wind.
The super sweet flowers are utterly animal proof. Even javelina and deer don't like the taste of this local shrub.
You'll find the best evergreen natives at Watters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit wattersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Watters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.